And as we were saying, then Detective Rita Callahan grabbed Pete Barr by the gooseberries and twisted them till he was forced to his knees.
Did he confess?
He did murder the majorette by forcing an ice lolly down her throat and choking her.
No, but he had an alibi. He was at the Gay Republican Convention in Miami.
No, you only thought he was in Miami because he had a Miami background on his Zoom call. He was in LA all the time, right there. And allowing for the time differences.
But why?
No,
Why?
Why did he want to murder the majorette? What was his motive?
Oh, who cares? He was a very nasty man, and the dyke gave him what he deserved. Very satisfying. She's muted. Turn your microphone on.
Sorry about that. I'm using Gloria's iPad and the Zoom setup is completely different. The buttons are all in the wrong places. Well, maybe they're in the right places for you, but they're not for me.
What were you saying?
What?
You were trying to say something?
It's funny, isn't it, when people speak and you can't hear them? They look completely demented. You look completely demented.
I object to the word demented. It disempowers people to suggest they have left their mind.
Thank you for your feedback. Glad you want to repower me, Leaf Mould. I will take that as an endorsement. The meeting of the Women Against Male Power Coalition Mobilisation will now come to order. Will you please switch off your microphone when you are not speaking?
You see, that matters. There's only 4 of us.
It's meeting etiquette. It shows respect for the speaker.
You can still have respect for someone without.
And the first item on the agenda is that we have to... can you please use the raised hand icon, Leaf Mulch?
Raised hand? Where's that? I can't see a raised hand.
If you go into reactions along the bottom, you'll see a row of icons. No, that's tears of joy. You're looking for a hand. No, that's approval. No, that's applause. Underneath it says raise hand on the bottom. Yes, Leaf Mulch, what is it?
I object to this hierarchical structure.
This what?
You up there like a great white god.
Goddess, surely.
Shall we settle for deity? We shall.
I mean, why should you have the power to decide who's going to speak and who isn't?
Hey, Sue's still cut off. She can't get in.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Let her in.
Well, why should Anna have the power to cut people off?
Excuse me, why have you got your hand up?
Have I?
You want to go to the toilet?
You're meant to put it up when you want to speak. It's non-invasive, which is good.
But you're speaking anyway.
You can put your hand down now, Leaf Mulch.
I still object. Why do you have the power?
Because I set up the meeting.
That doesn't mean we need a hierarchy. At the very least, we should sit in a circle.
How can you have a circle on Zoom?
Sue, I thought you were coming to dinner tonight.
How come you get together? We're all in lockdown.
Leaf mulch, it's a bit hard to have a circle when there's only 4 people.
We're in a bubble. She's my significant other, or whatever you call it.
But surely that's only for essential purposes like walking the dog or letting your holiday home.
And eye tests. Don't forget eye tests.
No, bubbles are social too. Stop us going gaga.
That's oppressive language.
Thought you were going to call first.
I thought you were going to call.
Haven't cooked anything.
It's insulting. It comes from bedwetting.
One at a time, please. Leaf mulch tabled a question from the floor.
I did? Oh, yes, I did. The point is, if we are going to be truly gynocentric, we don't want to replicate the repressive structure of the dominant male culture. If we can't have a circle, maybe we should be in fetal positions. I mean, warm and round and womb-like.
With a glass of menstrual blood, anyone?
Oh, that's gross, and it's certainly not kosher.
I know. We should reach out through the screen towards each other to represent our nurturing flow of ideas.
Look, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will lower myself on the screen. There. That way, it won't seem as if I'm setting myself above the meeting. Like that. Oh, no. Now, the first item on the agenda is confirming a date for leaf mulch. What is it?
I don't like this use of a group leader. I feel marginalised by this authoritarian construct. Gloria, you do not have any hold in this meeting. You have no authority here.
She means she wants to do it.
You have it all wrong, leaf mulch. I'm not a group leader, the goddess forbid. I am an enabler, a facilitator. All I want to do is empower you to reach a collective creative consensus.
That's all very well, but the interest of developing a gynocratic utopia, it should be a rotating position to prevent anyone from becoming too entrenched and replicating the perpetuation of the dominant culture.
He does want to do it.
Well, don't look at me. I get exhausted umpiring at tennis.
If you want to spread the authority around so much, I hereby surrender my position. You can be secretary.
Oh, does that doesn't mean to say I've got to take notes, does it?
If there's anything to take notes about, you can see how much work it involves.
You're discriminating against me because I'm dyslexic.
Only rich kids get diagnosed with dyslexia.
Well, I haven't actually been diagnosed.
Please, microphones off. If I may continue, the first item on the agenda is fixing a date for the march. We agreed we needed to show solidarity with those women experiencing harassment on the street, and therefore we should have a Reclaim the Night march. However, no one could agree at our last meeting which night we should have the march. So we agreed to move our demonstration for Take Back the Night to the day.
Which day?
The suggestion was Sunday morning.
Oh, no way. I DJ Saturday nights at Clits. I don't get home till 5.
What about Sunday afternoon?
Sapphic songsters.
What about Saturday day?
Okay with me.
Well, then I move that we move the Women's Take the Night March to Saturday day.
Anyone going to second?
There's only 4 of us.
I'll second.
When did you get so orderly?
When she thought she might get to be leader.
We seem to be making progress now. The motion is on the table. I don't propose that we need to speak to the motion. Hands up, please, if you favour moving the Reclaim the Night march.
Excuse me, Miss Facilitator. I'd like to make a statement.
Rachel, the floor is yours. We're all ears.
As a member of the Judaic community, I feel extremely marginalised by the suggestion of moving the Women's Take Back the Night March to Saturday, the historic day of the Sabbath. In one stroke, you've erased my identity, my culture, and my history. If this organisation persists in being so anti-Semitic and Holocaust denying, I feel that I cannot continue to participate in it, and I will have no recourse but to form a new, more progressive group, which I will call the New Agenda of the Women's Take Back the Night Coalition. I'm already working on an email for publication in the agenda.
Oh, shit.
All right, already. The actual day is no big deal. Jesus Christ, Rachel. Oh, okay. Holy Moses, how long have we been friends? Couldn't you have mentioned it earlier?
I just wanted to make a statement.
It's a simple mistake. I forgot.
You shouldn't forget. You shouldn't forget. It's this kind of patriarchal insensitivity that makes so many of us feel marginalised.
I said I was sorry. Since when were you God?
Goddess.
I'm really sorry, Rachel. That was totally crass. I was an idiot.
Actually, it wasn't that important. I'm a secular Jew, really. Cultural, not religious. I just wanted to put it on the record.
So when are we going to hold this sodding march?
Anna?
I'm getting fed up.
Well, how about Saturday night?
I never thought of that.
It's fine after the sun goes down.
If it's at about 8, I can go on to DJ afterwards, and you can all come to the club later. I'll get you in free.
Some of us prefer to commune in less commercial surroundings.
Oh, go and dance around the moon.
Ew, that's sweat, disgusting. I hope you get crotch itch.
Ladies, girls?
Women!
Okay, Saturday night's agreed. What about T-shirts?
I object to uniforms. Our clothes will reflect the diversity of our culture.
A mess, you mean? The through-ahead backwards look.
It would be cool if we could have something we could wear together. I mean, identify the group, unify us.
What about women who can't afford T-shirts? Students, commercial unemployed women, BAME women. Once again, the movement's been co-opted by white middle-class women of privilege, and I object.
We could bake cakes and sell them to raise money to subsidise T-shirts. Sell them at the club.
I am not into sugar or fats.
Will you shut the fuck up? Jesus, that felt good.
What a relief.
Oh, maybe we should do that more often.
Welcome to Homo Promos Unmute, a Zoom review. And I am Daisy Danger. And this rather lovely vessel was gifted to me for my birthday by Patricia Driver, who is in the audience this evening. So thank you so much, Patricia Driver. Now, London's oldest LGBTQ+ theatre company is still standing after presenting 65 plays in 65 weeks. Now, I'm no scientist, but if we do this for a further 3 weeks, then plus a bonus show, 69 plays in 69 weeks, has a certain ring to it, doesn't it? So we've been raising morale, fighting isolation, boredom, entertaining and reclaiming our queer theatre history since March 29th, 2020. Now, Unmute is a celebration of the comic talents of 12 of the 15 regular performers who have contributed so much to the 12 plays, which made up the 4th season of Homo Promos online Zoom readings. Now we kick off, very topical, this evening, not with 11 men dribbling around and kicking balls, but just one. Please welcome Rex Melville in Camp Chat.
What a relief to sit down. I was having a lovely chat to A.E. Houseman about Shropshire. when this flat-chested woman came up to me in 1.5 yards of tasseled curtain and insisted I tango with her. She said she was utterly morel. I thought she was utterly ghastly. Well, anyway, A.E. was telling me about this lovely story about Lawrence. No, dear, not the one with the John Thomas and Lady Jane. The other one. The Butch Leather Queen with the motorbike. Yes, that's the one. Oh, you've heard that one. I feel sorry for A.E., you know. He's always falling for these lads, these Shropshire lads. They keep hanging themselves or getting hanged. If I'd been chatted up by A.E., I think I would always want to avoid rope. I've been buttonholed by Isherwood too. He's just back from 3 weeks from Berlin. Oh, no, dear, not Irving, the city. And what does he look like? Green just isn't his colour. Not his fingernails, anyway. He's off next week to China, of all places, with that friend of his. You know, the one who, the face like a prune and is always scribbling poetry? Yes, that's the one. Oh, do you like it? Well, some people can carry a tan and some can't. And I was fed up with being pale and interesting. It was so exhausting. It's the real thing. It's not out of a bottle. I just got back from the south of France. Yes. Willie invited me down. Willie Maugham, you know. And such dramas we had. Such dramas. Beverly Nichols came down and they had, oh, such a toodle. Terrible rows about what colour sails to put on their yacht. Beverly suggested Schiaparelli pink to match Willie's eyes. And Willie got furious and told him to clear out and take his menagerie with him. Yes, travelling with 12 cats. Ooh. He's queer for moggies. You know, his affair is in pictures with Alfred Hitchcock. Hitchcock? Half-cock is more what I've heard. Have you met Beverly's you-know-what? Cyril Butcher. Now there's a misnomer if ever I heard one. Butcher than what, I ask? Barbara Cartland? Morgan Forster. You know, E.M. to his friends. Morgan Forster got pissed as a fart on Thursday and started screeching about this new novel he'd just written. Now, what was it called? Boris? Horace? Or Doris? No, I remember. It was Morris. But, of course, E.M. insists on calling it Maurice. Oh, how affected and pretentious. It's meant to be terribly avant-garde. It got this scene in it with 2 boys in bed together. Of course, Lytton got all excited. What do they do? He screeched. They talk, said E.M. Talk, my dear. It'll be the non-event of the century. Oh, it was a marvellous party there. Everyone who was anybody was there. Tallulah was there. Though what she did with Ronald Furbank's gold-topped cane quite turned my stomach. And it can't have done much for his either. I heard from Ivor, who had it from Noel. I said, had it from... Well, maybe. I don't want to know. I'm not one to gossip. Ooh, guess who else I saw in the south of France? Nijinsky. Ah, an absolute wreck. He's never been the same since Romola got her claws into him. and ruined his grand jeté and broke poor Sergei's heart. And guess who else was there? Gide on Nice station. Oh, he's outrageous, that one. Had 3 little urchins carrying 1 suitcase. But you know what they say, an Arab a day keeps the priest at bay. Oh, excusez-moi, I must have a word with mine host. Oh, excuse me, darling, thank you so much for the marvelous party. Who is he? Just some naff little queen. And what was his name? Crisp, I think. Somebody crisp. Frankly, my dear, I don't think anything much will ever come of him.
And so, members of the jury, you have already heard the defendant admit out of his own mouth that this filthy, malicious, corrupt, and obscene article was written especially for children. And perhaps the defendant would care to tell us exactly how much he has profited from his loathsome endeavours. £15 million. And that is on Peter Pan alone, is it not, Mr. Barry? Corrupting the innocent can be lucrative, can it not? We are not interested in your excuses. We are interested in the facts here. And I'm sure that the jury will agree that in this case, the facts speak for themselves. Will you kindly turn to page 76 of Peter Pan in the Puffin Classics edition? You could tell that they were fairies of the commoner sort by their tinkling in the bushes on their way home. Some of the more unsteady fairies stepped over him on their way home from the orgy. Or again, page 43. Page 43. I don't ever want to be a man, Peter said with passion. I want always to be a little boy and have fun. So I ran away to Kensington Gardens and lived a long time among the fairies. You have been to Kensington Gardens, Mr. Barry? It's not all nannies and roses now, is it? No, the truth is that you ask us to imagine a little golden-haired cherub wandering among the bushes all lost and forlorn when he is accosted by a middle-aged man in a black leather caftan and purple satin trousers, clutching a white poodle under his arm, no doubt, who offers the little boy a wine gum before leading him back to his sordid basement flat, conveniently situated close by in Bayswater, where he interferes with him. Well, no, it's not relevant how I know. Thank you, my lord. And again, page 51, page 51. It looked delightfully easy, and they tried it first on the floor and then on the bed. I say, how do you do it? Said John, rubbing his knee. Peter showed them again. You're so nippy at it, said John. Couldn't you do it slowly, just once? Peter did it both slowly and quickly. I've got it now, Wendy, cried John. They were all on the bed, and gallant Michael let go first. He did not mean to let go, but he did. It is naughty of him not to wipe, thought Wendy, sighing. She was a tidy child. Up and down they went, round and round. Heavenly was Wendy's word. And not one of the people described in this scene of juvenile debauchery, members of the jury, was old enough even to join the woodcraft folk. Thank you, Mr. Barry. That will be all. Call Enid Blyton.
Are you having problems getting those persistent stains on your character out of your media profile? Pretty couldn't shake off the rumors peddled by a scurrilous Cabinet Office report that she bullied her staff.
It was racist. It was obsessed by colour. Just because bruises are black and blue, so what? The 340,200,000 payout I made to Philip Rutnam was just a thank you for all his work, but I didn't have time to get him carried.
She was also dogged by claims that she misled Parliament over treatment of asylum seekers in squalid conditions, where overcrowding led to COVID deaths.
Of course we followed advice. The broken windows meant there was lots of air circulating, and anyway, if a few illegal immigrants died, it saved us a fortune in processing applications. The British taxpayer should be grateful I've saved him money.
And how could she ever live down a secret visit to Israel when she didn't tell anyone in the government where she was going?
I said I wanted to see some new-ish settlements. I thought I was going to Stevenage. I had no idea I was on a plane. It must have turned right instead of left over Thurrock.
Terrible stains. And terribly difficult to get rid of, like Robert Jenrick having dinner with Richard Desmond and then shortly after illegally approving a £1 billion luxury housing development.
We were just enthusing over the seafood, honestly.
Scallops.
What?
You were talking a load of scallops?
Exactly. The fact that Mr. Desmond gave substantial donations to the Conservative Party both before and after is purely coincidental.
Pretty and Robert were in despair. So was Dave, the finance lapdog. So was little Matty Hancock, who got the chop when he was only trying to get a fishbone out of his secretary's throat with his tongue.
It just isn't fair.
Matty gave away millions to cronies and relatives through NHS contracts. His next door neighbour said he could make 50 million masks from his ice cream van. He got his contract because it was so convenient to fix it over the garden wall. And then there was poor Mickey Gove, $500,000 for a COVID contract to a friend who wrote the Tory manifesto.
What's so wrong about that? I don't understand the English courts. They've all got it in for me just because I look like a cross between Dr. Evil and a horned toad.
But now they can all breathe easily, thanks to the new Mr. Piffle whitewash. Said Pretty.
I smeared myself all over with Mr. Piffle whitewash. It is laced with special, greasy smarm and piffle camouflage. Now, nothing can stick to me.
Look at me! Prorogued Parliament illegally, spent hundreds of thousands of your money on gold wallpaper which falls off the walls, and yet here I am, can't touch me. And all because I had a big waffle in piffle.
So, become a government minister and get rid of all those stains immediately. Thanks to Mr. Piffle, it's like they never happened. Mr. Piffle, exceedingly good Piffle.
Ah, good morning, Mr. Keeley. Sit down, sit down, sit down. Welcome to St. Rupert's. Tutorials are meant to start at 11 o'clock, you know. Here at St. Rupert's, we like to start early. We may be a new college, but we follow the old traditions. And as our blessed founder put it so eloquently, it's the early bird who catches the leveraged buyout. Well, I'm sure you'll get used to it. You're tired. Well, I'm sorry we have interrupted your rest. Yes, Yet I can understand that pulling down statues must be exhausting. Who was it this time? The Venerable Bede. A symbol of old white male privilege. I see. Well, serves him right for being venerable, I suppose. Would you like a sherry? The college has an excellent Amontillado from our own vineyards. Or is that too privileged for you? Oh, excellent. Crabtree, 2 large sherries, please. Crabtree has been my scout man and boy since we opened in 2014. Now, Mr. Keeley, I was very interested in your little essay, which I have here, on the gay love poetry of Samuel Taylor Coleridge. But forgive me, I wasn't exactly aware, well, until I read your intriguing thesis, that there was any. You do have proof of authenticity. Yes, I read about the interesting graffito you discovered on the wall of the Bodleian Library. Kubla Khan is kinky, kinky with an H. Very droll. But is this exactly conclusive? You brought in Lucy Worsley to verify it? Well, I'm sorry, Lucy Worsley will verify anything as long as she can wear a mob cap and a bustle. So I don't see that as... Well, it's your word against mine, Mr. Keeley. There's no need to take it like that. Mr. Keeley, put that chair down. Well, shall we have a look at it? The essay, Mr. Keeley, you can put that away. Now, yes, here we are. Beautifully laid out, by the way. If your degree was in Photoshop, you'd be off to a flying start, but it isn't. So let's start with your first discovery. There was a young dyke highly strung, had a lover whose praises she'd sung. She said, I love doing, what's that thing when you're wooing? Hell, it's just on the tip of my tongue. Now, the thing is, I don't detect much of the genuine Coleridgean flavour in this interesting piece of verse. Poetry? Well, depends really on your point of view. Look, let's have a look at another one. A gay man from near Marble Arch disappointed a man on a march. Though he took it in hand, wouldn't stand up as planned, though he dipped it in plenty of starch. Yes, well, of course, I can see the pattern, the simplistic rhyme scheme of the elementary quintain building, as it were, up. But is this the Coleridge we've come to know and love? Can we must ask ourselves, see him in Dove Cottage, leaning over the dinner table, delicately tracing his lace cuff in the nettle gravy, which Dorothy has so carefully prepared, and saying with his inimitable bravado to his breathless host, Willie, get onto the table, throw your knickers onto the ground. I'll give you the best what I'm able, and I'll whip you all night for £1. Well, I gather you found this written on the back of a bill for 12 bots brandy from a Signor Aldi and entitled Epistolatory Ode to Mr. W.W. Oh, you say that gives this a certain credence to the supposed homoerotic relationship between Wordsworth and Coleridge. W.W. Well, I hardly supposed it was Willy Wonka, Mr. Keeley. I'm not stupid. But just examine the syntax. The best what I am able. Now, it's hardly what we've come to expect of the finest prose grammarian of the 19th century. Fits the mood of the piece. Well, you may have a point there. However, despite my reservation, I was very interested in your discovery of an early gay draft of Kubla Khan. How does it go? In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a kinky pleasure dome decree where he could meet young men on the side and Mrs. Khan couldn't see. Well, I felt that had a certain primitive force, yes, and I was less happy, however, with what you claim is the original version of The Ancient Mariner. It is a hunky mariner, and it cruiseth 1 in 3, with thy breeches tight on thy meaty thighs. Now wherefore cruisest thou me? The bridegroom's door is open wide, and I am next of kin, but come into the privy here, and we can get a quick one in. I am afraid I shall take some convincing about that one. No, I'm sorry, but I can't give you more than beta triple minus for this one. Alpha minus? Certainly not. Beta double minus? Beta minus? No, don't start crying again, please, Mr. Keeley. Oh, all right. Beta plus then. Beta plus query plus sold. And a gold star? And a Kit Kat? You try me too far. Now, what are you going to do for me next week? The sadomasochistic novels of Jane Austen. Well, of course I've heard of them. What do you take me for? A complete idiot? Next!
There's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A grand little lad was young Albert, in his new lycra shorts, all the rage, and even his parents admitted he was quite a big lad for his age. They didn't think much of the ocean. The waves, they was fiddling and small. There were no wrecks and nobody drowned. In fact, nothing to laugh at all. They looked at the illuminations and rode in a tram along shore. Pa would have suggested the zoo, but they'd had problems with lions before. Young Albert was getting the fidgets. The attractions had left him quite cold, and his stick with an horse's head handle was a bit of a bugger to hold. So he wandered off into the back streets in search of more interesting sights, till he came to a place called Flamingo, all lit up in pink neon lights. Inside it, the music was throbbing. Outside, there was quite a chill breeze. So Albert went up to the counter and said, "1/2 price, if you please." "Nay, lad, there's no halves at Flamingo. It's for adults, unwaged or we wage. But seeing it's you, I'll exempt you, 'cause you are a big lad for your age." The dance floor was noisy and crowded. The place was all crowded with blokes. It made Albert all hot and bothered, so he left his school cap with the cloaks. In the bar, Albert perched on a bar stool, till over the young barman came. Albert ordered a pina colada, 'cause he fancied the sound of the name. Asked Albert, "Who are all these people? There's so many, they can't live in town." "They're all queens," said the barman, which puzzled young Albert, 'cause none wore a crown. And when the young lad took to the dance floor, then everyone gasped with surprise at his stick with its horse's head handle. They'd never seen one quite that size. Said one chap dressed in chaps made of leather, "Your horse's head handle's a sight. There's not many of those at Flamingo. You should enter the contest tonight." Meanwhile, both his parents were peckish for fish and chips, as was their wont. Said Pa, I think something is missing, although I can't put finger on't. It's our Albert, said Ma, been abducted. Call police, she cried, fearing the worst. Nay, Ma, it's gone 6, said his father. We'd better have fish supper first. As soon as their hunger was sated, they went off in search of their son. Pa grumbled at missing EastEnders, but Ma said that it had to be done. They inquired of a friendly policeman, gave description both full and complete. A stick with an horse's head handle, I think it went off down yon street. Soon they stood at the door of Flamingo and demanded to see the young chap. Young Flamingo has eaten our Albert. No, it hasn't. Yes, it has. There's his cap. They pushed their way in almost brusquely. And Ma muttered darkly of sin. But what made the doorman most mad was they hadn't even paid to get in. The customers all were pressed forward and cheering and stamping so loud that Mother and Pa forced a passage to see what excited the crowd. And there, to the tune of the stripper, young Albert was grinding on stage. By now his new lycra shorts off, and he was a big lad for his age. The sight put Pa into a frenzy, and tears of rage welled in his eyes, though his anger was somewhat abated when Albert had won the first prize. £100 cheque was presented, but before little lad could reply, Pa said, I'll pocket that for safekeeping, and thought of old ale it would buy. And all of the queens from Flamingo went to Woolworths the very next week to buy sticks with an horse's head handle, the latest in discotheque chic. And Albert is eagerly waiting to go back, but Ma says, no fear, he's not mixing with that sort of person. We're going to Lesbos next year.
Please welcome Lucy, Peter, Nicola, Ian, and Mark in Soliciting. I'll set the scene. A park at lunchtime. 2 benches, one occupied by a gay man, one. Rupert sitting on the other. Patricia sits on the far right of Rupert's bench.
Did you see that?
What?
Those two there, man and woman. Would you credit it?
Oh, so what? 2 singles, maybe nothing. Just having lunch. Coincidence.
On the same bench? Unbelievable. They have no shame.
But they're not doing anything.
He may look like a normal man, but I'm telling you.
Telling me what?
You could see all the signs, little giveaways, paisley socks, corduroys, a black leather briefcase. Has he no shame? These people are everywhere.
I've seen you coming here before. You come out of the Lloyd's building. Do you work at Lloyd's?
Yes. In actuarial, that's 7th floor. Well, 7th and 8th.
Big department. I'm in procurement.
10th.
Oh, you know it.
You see, they're talking about work. 30 seconds and not a single mention of RuPaul's Drag Race.
I know I shouldn't say this, but do you come here often?
Don't say that. People will start to think...
Think what?
You know, that we're... You know.
Did you hear that? And in broad daylight, flaunting it. It's disgusting.
But I don't see that it's any of our business, really. I feel rather sorry for them. Where are they going to meet otherwise? Some sordid bar or other?
It's the thin edge of the wedge, Gary. Give them an inch and they'll take a mortgage. You see, it's importuning. They have rituals, you know, so they can know each other, a kind of code.
They're cheese and beetroot. My mother made them.
I love cheese and beetroot.
You see, even their sandwich filling is straight.
How come you know so much about it?
I saw a magazine once at Gordon's, hidden under his copy of Butch Boys and Big Guns.
A magazine?
Family Circle.
He isn't.
Sure.
Not Gordon.
I'm sure it's only a phase. He'll grow out of it. After all, he's only 43.
Did you confront him?
Of course I did. He said he wanted to research a new garden shed. Look, I couldn't help noticing he served a hot pot for dinner that night. At least it's delivered in a plain brown wrapper, so none of the neighbours know.
Look, I think he's about to proposition her.
Another piece of sandwich?
Oh, no, thanks. I'm on a diet.
The women are always on a diet. The men are flabby as shit. The only exercise they get is lifting a pint. They never go down to the gym.
Their idea of a decent deodorizer is Lynx.
Lynx! That's napalm for the armpits.
I will just have a couple of those grapes, though, if I may.
Will you look at that?
What did I tell you? Shameless. Brazen.
You're convincing me. We've had a couple moved into a flat on the floor below.
How can breeders afford it? They can't pay the rent here and have children as well.
Well, prices have come down a lot since COVID. Shoreditch is not what it was. I mean, we put in all the hard work, converted the lofts and the warehouses, opened up all the antique shops and specialist delis, restored the old slums, doubled the property values, and here they are undoing all that good work.
I hear them in the lift sometimes. They've never even heard of Maria Callas. All they can do is talk of the quality of local schools.
I don't understand it. I mean, they have a perfectly good street ghetto in Ealing and Acton. Why did they have to come here?
My name is Patricia.
Hi, Rupert.
That is too much. Let's just go. It's making me sick just to watch it. It's put me right off my roast rump ciabatta with blueberries and juniper.
Oh, Nigella.
Nigel. But it was thick in my throat after that.
Come on, then. Some people should learn to be discreet and keep it in their pants. What a waste.
Time to get back to work.
Oh, can't you stay just 5 minutes more? You know how hard it is for people like us to meet.
You're telling me. I'm having to be particularly careful at work. I think my manager suspects something. He tried to invite me out for a drink and I'm afraid I don't have a very convincing excuse to say no. Since then, he's been watching me like a hawk.
Poor you.
I think we'd better go. I've heard this park can be dangerous, especially at lunchtime.
We have just as much right to be here as they do.
Oh, you're so naive. They can run us in any time on any trumped-up charge, just for looking. If it happens again, I'll lose my job.
Oh, I've never had that.
Of course not. Everyone assumes all women are queer.
Oi, oi, bleeding heads!
Ignore them, Rupert. Sticks and stones.
Hey, Het, I'm talking to you. Think you're a big man? Think you're going to stick it in, do you?
Rupert, don't leave me here.
Want to have a little yodeling in the canyon? Hey, Hetty girl, come here. Want to get a taste of the real thing? After fish, you'll never go back to meat. Trouble is, you've never met the right girl.
And now we must pause for a short commercial break, starring Nicola and, oh, me. I was getting into character. There we go. Oh. All right. Good morning, Mrs. X. Are you cleaning the kitchen? Oh my, what a mess your sink is in. It looks like a donkey dumped in it. Where did you get those stains?
These? Oh, they're poster paint. The man from the advertising agency put them there.
Well, I happen to have just the thing for you. New Cosmic. New Cosmic differs from Old Cosmic in its deceptively large container, which is made from plastic instead of cheesy old recycled cardboard.
Why can't I use this packet, which I have in my hand, which is labelled another household cleaner, but is in reality common garden rock salt?
Because only New Cosmic contains anilmine, a trade name for coal tar granules, which are specially added for bulk. I know what. Let's try yours against mine, just for fun.
Oh, goody. What japes?
You try yours first. Oh, my. It doesn't seem to be doing any good at all.
Owing to a chronic arthritic condition, I can muster no more force than a moderately healthy fly.
Now watch, while I grind in Cosmic with my powerful right arm, developed by years of all-in wrestling. Now, for purposes of this demonstration, I have added some ammonia, iron fillings, and sulfuric acid. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, there.
My, Cosmic even took off the porcelain. If I was the sort of girl who ever went near a sink in real life, I'd switch to Cosmic right away.
Certainly. If you were anything but a decorative sex object, Cosmic would be exactly what you need.
It occurred on the evening before Waterloo, and troops were lined up on parade. And Sergeant said he'd an important announcement from the Duke, which had to be made. It had come from the old Duke of Wellington's lips, so he'd made it all up for his sen. 'Twas a delicate matter, or so Sergeant said, but 'twas best to be frank, men to men. Tomorrow we're going to win famous fight, said Sergeant. 'Tis no idle hope. As to Private, how can thou be so ruddy sure? 'Twas in the news of the world horoscope. So after the battle, you'll want to relax and perhaps have a bit of a do. There'll be smoked salmon, caviar, lots of champagne and bottles of old ale too. And after thou's got a few under thy belt, they'll get up to all kinds of pranks. Not to mention the locals that we have set free. They'll be wanting to show us their thanks. And if celebrations should go to their head, there'll be many temptations to face. And happen that some of you'll want to succumb. They'd better have these, just in case. So saying, Sergeant gave way with his stick, and corporals arrived carrying crates. They opened them up and began to unround little packets on which was written mates. The soldiers took packets but with puzzled frowns and asked what these mates might be for. One or two thought they knew because they'd read Mary Stopes, but they weren't entirely sure. Said one private, now, how do you use these here mates? We think that we ought to be told. Said the sergeant, I'll not put one on for thee now, not out here, because it's too ruddy cold. So the privates all pocketed packets of mates, which they learned were called also French letters, or condoms, though some thought that such fancy stuff was really designed for their betters. All excepting one man who was sat in front rank, a man by the name of Sam Small. Despite the example of all men around, he wouldn't touch condoms at all. "Pick 'em up," said the sergeant, abrupt-like, but cool. But Sam said with a frown, "Ruddy hell. I came to this battle to beat up the French. I'm not writing the letters as well." Sam, pick up thy condoms," the sergeant exclaimed, going red. Sam said, "If thou wants them, then wear 'em thysen. I'm not having one of those on me head." The sound of high words soon reached the ears of an officer, Lieutenant Bird, who says to the sergeant, "Now, what's all this here?" And sergeant told what had occurred. Sam, pick up thy condoms," said Lieutenant. "They'll need them in bed." "Nay, lad," said old Sam, "if I'm feeling the cold, I'll have a water bottle instead." It caused quite a stir when the captain arrived to find out the cause of the trouble, and everyone there, excepting old Sam, was full of excitement and bubble. Sam, pick up thy condoms. They've been thoroughly tested by law," ordered Captain, but Sam said, "I'm not using those if a policeman's used them before." The same thing occurred when a major and colonel both tried to get Sam to see sense. But when old Duke of Wellington came into view, well, the excitement was tense. The major and colonel explained to the Duke that Sam had refused prophylactics. He looked at the condoms and then looked at Sam and said, "Happen we'll try different tactics." Sam, pick up thy condoms," the Duke said, going quiet as can be. Sam, pick up thy condoms. Come on, lad, just to please me." Full 5 minutes, Duke whispered into Sam's ear, till Sam's face was blushing bright red. Then Duke asked, "Art sure thou understands now?" And Sam grumbled that nobody'd said. "All right, Duke," said old Sam, "just for thee I'll oblige, and to show no irreverence was meant." So Sam picked them up. "Gravely, lad," said the Duke, "and after we've won, if thou's still in doubt, look, thou can practice with me in my tent."
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Act 2. Now, did you enjoy the halftime? Yeah, okay. Well, I was wearing this for the halftime show, but they put Lady Gaga instead. Well, she has the space in her diary, bless her. Anyway, they were only paying orally. That's orally spelled with an A-U. As in, A-U. Fancy some oral. Oh, and when using your gob, it pays to increase your word power. Now, please welcome everybody, Catherine and Lucy.
Ever had that situation where you wanted to confront someone but couldn't find the words?
Uh-huh.
Ever thought of the perfect rejoinder 10 minutes after you should have said it?
Too right.
Ever had the right words on the tip of your tongue, except you couldn't finish them up and then that sludge in your brain?
That's me.
You know what you need?
No. What do I need?
You need the Charlene Atlas course in word lifting.
Word lifting?
That's right. Through a series of gradual exercises, you train yourself to talk back, to lift those heavy, heavy words that get stuck in the back of your throat.
Mine seem to stay somewhere down in my diaphragm.
Why would you need a diaphragm? You're a lesbian.
Pardon?
Lesbianism comes in with built-in birth control?
Not that kind of diaphragm. Down here.
Ooh, that's serious.
Yes.
But not to worry. Charlene Atlas will teach you to bench press those snappy comebacks, lifting them from deep down in your diaphragm, up through your esophagus, past your vocal cords, and actually say them to someone.
Really? This sounds like the answer to my prayers.
Are you tired of having insults kicked in your face at the office?
I am.
Are you sick of innuendos being hurled at your head in the street?
You're telling me.
And you are fed up with those ignorant arseholes trampling on your tenderest feelings.
My feelings are punch drunk.
Then Charlene Atlas has the answer for you. Her guaranteed foolproof course in word lifting.
What will it cost?
Absolutely nothing except your inhibitions.
When can I start?
Right now. First, now close your eyes and say, close your eyes. Yeah? Okay. And say, I am a lesbian.
Done it?
No, not to yourself.
I thought I ought to know.
Okay, so now you know. Now let other people know.
Who?
No one in particular, the world. Say it out loud.
I'm a lesbian.
Oh, come on, I don't think anyone heard you.
I am a lesbian.
Well, they certainly heard that. Now, look at me when you say it.
Darling, I'm a lesbian.
Really?
Yeah.
What a coincidence. So am I.
That's nice.
Very convenient, really. Break it up. Break it up. We're not here to enjoy ourselves. Now, imagine that we're sitting in the park having lunch. I'm going to be your straight work colleague.
What's in the sandwiches?
I don't know. Cheese and beetroot?
Oh, I hate beetroot.
All right, then. Pretend it's pickle.
Can I have camembert?
Will you concentrate? It doesn't matter what's in the sandwiches. You can have anything you like.
Okay, bacon and more bacon. I'm ready now.
Will you look at those two over there?
Huh?
Now, we're doing a role play, right? We're having roles.
I haven't got a roll. I've got a sandwich.
You're being deliberately obstructive. Look, I am being Nancy Nice from The Office. You know, the one who puts air freshener down her underpants to disguise her nasty female smells. We're in a park. There are two people over there on the benches. Right? Okay. Will you look at those two over there? Take it away, Grace.
Which two?
Those two women wrapped around each other.
Oh, sweet.
Should be allowed, no, making an exhibition of themselves in public. Now, if that was a man and a woman, that would be different, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean when I say, if you know what I mean?
Whoa! What is wrong with a woman and a woman? You think everyone in the office is too refined to have ever done it with a woman? Let me tell you, I'm not refined at all, and there's another half a dozen women I can tell you aren't either. I am a bad girl, a nasty girl, and I do it with women all the time. Look, what did you say your name was?
Nancy Nice.
Look, Miss Nancy Nice, will you get it into your lacquered, permed head? I am a lesbian, and I don't like you making disparaging remarks about it, if you know what I mean.
Congratulations. You passed.
Have?
You have. You are now an uppity dyke.
I am? I'm an uppity dyke. I'm an uppity dyke.
You are now qualified to bring up a host of unpleasant subjects in daily conversation, such as your own homosexuality.
I'm an uppity dyke.
A woman's right to choose.
I'm an uppity dyke.
And various other topics that people would rather really not talk about.
My fellow Americans, I am an uppity dyke.
It's okay, right, you've passed. Oh, my brain hurts.
I take pride in the words, Ich bin eine uppity dyke.
Good God, what have I unleashed?
In the old days, when we had newspapers you held in your hand, they used to take personal ads, and you could ring up to book one. Place a personal ad with Rex.
Hello, boys' personal ads. Can I help you? All right, I got a pen. Fire away. Man, comma, manly, comma, butch, comma, well built, comma, hairy chest, not at all camber, effeminate, comma. No, I'm sorry, you cannot have not at all camp or effeminate as one word. Now, where were we? Not at all camp or effeminate, comma, XXX, VWA. Hung like a horse, comma, 23 and a bit. Excuse me, but I don't want to be nosy, but what exactly is the bit? Well, I know we allow a teensy-weeny bit of leeway in these things, but in this case, wouldn't 45-ish be a little less misleading? We don't want you prosecuted under the Trade Descriptions Act. Oh, well, it's your money, 23 and a bit. I went very sincere. Stop. I'm into leather, comma, denim, comma, rubber, comma, PVC, comma, torture, comma, BDSM, comma, TT, comma, O, comma, A, comma, WS, comma, BDSM, comma, SM, EF, comma, oh, excuse me, I'm not exactly inexperienced, but what is EF? Oh, really? You're joking. Well, if elbow fucking is the latest thing in Weybridge, EF, comma, fist fucking, no, I'm sorry, I have to put that down as FF. Well, Boys is a family magazine, and fist fucking is a bit near the knuckle, as you might say. Okay, I'll read that back to you now. I'm into leather, comma, denim, comma, rubber, comma, PVC, comma, torture, comma, BDSM, comma, TT, comma, OAWS, SMEF, FF, and I am the romantic type. 6, boyish schoolboy type, under 20 only, blonde hair, blue eyes, tight buns, 9 inches, very cute, local to Weybridge. Must have own car and, oh, pad. No, I don't think you're being fussy, so no. And what's next? Ah, yes. 4, sex, comma, deep throat, comma, no strings fun, comma, games, comma, correction, comma, shaving, comma, toilet training, comma, role playing, medical examination, comma, and perhaps friendship, yes. Must be discreet, straight acting and non-camp, and into leather, denim, rubber, PVC, Oh, look, hang on, we've been here before. Yes, I know it pays to advertise correctly. Oh, and yes, I'm sure a man like you wouldn't want to meet a real poof. It might rub off. Just, can't you say, must share general interests and similar interests? Anything else? Weekends only. Well, I'm sure you'll meet someone who's right up your street, sir. And can I take your name and address now? Thank you. Cliff, Richard, the old manor house, Weybridge.
Vamir. Vamir. Oh, confound the wench. The plague and all servants. Vamir, where is that faithful serf? Vamir, is there no end to his presumption? He has been with me but 6 weeks, and already he shows nothing but scorn. He thinks he is taking the piss.
You summoned me, my lord.
Summon thee, forsooth. I have been summoning thee, sirrah, since 6:30.
My lord, you insult me. You fear me with your slander. I am not flair or flack. I take this most remiss. I am breathless for your instruction.
Breathless? You insult me. You smear me with your slander. I am not flow or flack. I take this most remiss. I am breathless for your instruction.
And you are breathless again, I think, my lord.
Breathless? Nay, I see your falsity. Admit it, I've been out in the Strand for listening for a soldier.
Never, my lord, it was a failure.
Nay, I swear it was a soldier. I knew him of old. The forces soldier who ever searched the century.
Nay, it was a failure, my lord. I always try to felicit a failure on Saturday. Soldiers I produce on Fun Day.
Fun Day?
Yes, it was actually an awful lot of.
Do not spar with me, sirrah. Did you practice safe sex?
Safe sex? What do you mean?
Did you fuck?
I don't know how to take that.
It's quite simple. Did you fuck?
Well, yes. And no. And maybe not. It all depends on your spelling and your fence.
My fence? What's my garden boundary to do with it?
Not your fence, your fence. As in fence and fencibility, although that will not be written for centuries. Centuries? No, centuries.
Enough of this soft soap. I think it is quite straightforward. I trust you have avoided in any form of sexual thickness.
La, my lord, I have been furtively scrupulous and sagacious.
Because I saw you kissing in the spinney.
It is no fin to kiss.
Indeed not. It is the most satisfying sensation. But come, I need you to secure my face. My corset is most slack, and my stomach hangs like a flabby sack. I cannot appear in such a state when I expect the Titanic Todger at any second. I am the fire for him. He is so flinky, so steamy, so sensual, oh, so spicy. And I have not seen him since the second Sunday after Septuagesima. I swear he makes me feel positively overfexed. I must be a proper little flapper. Oh, 'tis he. I am full of lust, My mirror, quick, my face is a fright. Where is my beauty spot?
On your fatool.
Oh, yes. Bid him come, Fanny.
Lady Foufan Sourpuss.
And don't slam the door. Oh, my mother, I'm stupefied. She's a gorgon, an ogress. Why must she surface so suddenly, just when I want to see my suitor? Mamma, pray be seated. You look quite wasted.
My fluids are quite fat. My sparkle is all bent. Quick, my folds, my folds.
I'm well aware of your...
No, my smelling folds.
Oh, sorry.
I feel sick.
Oh, then fear surgeon. Mother, I fear you cannot stay. I await my sweetheart, the one who has stolen my soul.
You? Flitton? Who is the sweetie who struck such a spark?
Nay, mother, no sweetie, but a swain.
You mean you have been seduced by a fellow?
Yes, I am a sodomite.
A practicing sodomite?
Actually, I'm pretty skillful at it by now.
You flatten! You shameless flat!
Oh, mother, be not so censorious. The Titanic Todger is an outstanding man, outstanding in every way. Besides, we are in love. We are besotted.
Oh, I never could resist the seductiveness of the prospect of young love. Besides, the Titanic has the most enormous wealth. It will save the sinking status of our penniless estate. We have already stripped most of our assets.
Then you give us your blessing?
Unstintingly. But there is just one thing. Can you steer him towards speaking English? He makes the most strange sounds. I can hardly understand a single sentence he says.
This is a poem by Simon Kennett, who was a member of Homo Promos 1988 to 93 and a Sister of Perpetual Indulgence. He died in 1997, 24 years ago, next week. In memoriam, the heading states, 20 words free. Well, your name takes 2 or 3. Died, that's another. But why bother? You wouldn't be if you hadn't. And say I do, say died. Should I say of and when? Or why? And is the date 1 word or 2? So instead I'll say who you were to me in 20 words, less 2 or 3, and another for me. Shall I put lover or teacher or friend or all 3? If I do, there's 1 more. My, that makes 4, plus the 2 that make you, or the 3, plus me, which makes 7 or so, only 13 to go to describe who you were to me. Who you were. Well, let's see. You were beautiful lying there, peaceful at last, and the still of you finally set free our past in our mind, which till now I'd been blocking because of my fear that I wouldn't be able to hold back the tears when I visited you. I thought I was being strong. I was wrong. I wish I'd had the strength to cry with you, for me, before you died. I know you understood. You were strong through your pain. You saw mine. You always could. And for that, I love you. You were unconditional in your love of life, even when you knew you were dying. Why mourn, you asked, smiling. Something not yet past. I want to celebrate. And at last, I understand. And this sum of 20 words free, of you, plus 4, plus 8, plus me, is my celebration of all that you were. So the 5 words unwritten should be about all that you are. You were my lover, teacher, friend, beautiful, strong, unconditional in your love of life. You are much missed by me.
We at Weight Watchers are constantly looking for new ways to make money. I mean, to make many improvements to your lifestyle and diet, to cut out those carbs and fats, and to fight that flab, which all too often threatens to creep up and overwhelm your disgusting body. We told you to give up red meat, did you? And what good has it done you? We told you to give up pork and to take the skin off chicken. Did you do that too? Did you notice any difference? And that's because there are still calories in there and you are greedy, greedy, greedy. What about fish? Likewise, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. I ought to smack your wrist. No. You bad girl. Did you go over to the vegetables? And they made you shit all the time, didn't they? Not to mention the needless suffering you caused by murdering carrots. As the VLF, Vegetable Liberation Front manifesto puts it, a rhubarb's right to life is sacred. Do parsnips feel no pain? Turnips no torment? Will you be responsible for the suffering of a Swede? But we, at Weight Watchers, have come up with the ultimate diet food. It's healthy, it's packed with vitamins and trace elements and contains absolutely no calories, additives, or fats of any kind. Eat pussy. No, not the carnivorous kind. Become a lesbian. Then you can say when asked, am I a carnivore? No. Am I vegan? No. No, it's not fruit that I suck on. I am a vegetarian.
Good hell, Mark!
Patrick, I've managed to avoid you for ages. I'm fine. Thanks for not asking.
Well, it really is a nuisance to see you again. I saw you actually across the road the other day, and I didn't shout, but you didn't see.
Oh, what a bit of luck.
You're in Brixton Road now, aren't you?
No, as a matter of fact, I moved last...
So I've often passed your place and I thought I must walk on, but I always have.
Well, you mustn't drop round sometime.
Where are you working these days?
No?
I'm dying not to find out. I can barely conceive my indifference. I've got a cozy little niche in an internet company, head of marketing, just 120,000 a year. Mustn't grumble.
Working your way down from the top. Good for you.
You? I would have always said you'd go far if I gave a flying fuck. I suppose you went somewhere tedious for your holidays. Oh, you mustn't tell me all about it. I bombed down to Persepolis for a couple of months. Been thinking about it for ages, but you know how things are. Anyway, we finally managed it.
Again?
We all squeezed into this Land Rover.
Oh, how absolutely uncomfortable.
There was all the old crowd, you know, Peter and Richard and Fee and Lucy.
No, I don't know. I was very grateful Peter didn't invite me, and of course I couldn't come. But I'd loathe to hear about it sometime. My money only stretched as far as Eastbourne this year.
Well, of course, you know where you are with Eastbourne.
Yes, in Eastbourne.
Oh, it has that indefinable tedium.
Yes, there's something about that part of the world. It's really so, I don't know, I find it so dull. I'd always dreamed of going anywhere else.
But at least you meet like-minded people, don't you?
No.
Oh, I'm sure it did marvels for your bingo. How's the car going? Expensive to run?
No, she's flying like a bird.
Oh, I see. Ostrich.
Well, she's a bit heavy on oil, and in town, of course, she only does about 20 to the gallon. But get her on the motorway and she needs only a dribble, and I can get her up to, 22 or 23 easily. Of course, her big end's playing up, as whose isn't. And a couple of clutches set me back. Oh, and I fitted a set of those Cinturato tires recently. So I wouldn't say she was at all expensive. On the contrary, she's quite exorbitant.
You still with
your ex?
That's the one. I can never remember his name.
Steve.
That's it. Steve. Oh, it's been all of 2 months. I can't really be expected to remember that far back. Mind you, I did notice he'd gone last Wednesday, and I wondered what had happened to him.
He came to Brixton.
Now you mention it. He did say something about wanting to do social work.
Thank you so much for the present he brought me from you.
You got it then?
The gonorrhea, yes, thank you.
As a token of my long-standing aversion. Well, I really must be escaping. I've got absolutely nothing to do this afternoon.
And I've got nobody to meet at 1:30.
Well, look, why should you come round sometime? Let me think. I'm busy on Fridays, Saturdays, and Wednesdays.
Well, Sundays, Mondays and Tuesdays are bad for me. Oh, and Thursdays too.
What a relief.
Yes. Well, it's been really embarrassing seeing you again, Patrick.
Yes, indeed. Buttock clenching.
Hope not to run into you again soon.
I never come this way, so that's very likely.
Good. I'll look forward to it. See you, Patrick.
Piss off, Mark.
The church is one foundation, is very plain to state. Good Catholics go to heaven, and all of them are straight. So when I die, I'll go to meet Saint Peter at the gate. He'll look at my queer CV and tell me, sod off, mate. The pontiff has a mission, he tries to ram it in. That queer love is perversion and safer sex a sin. He rails against human nature, which takes no note at all. So we're comforting the dying who obeyed the pontiff's call. The pontiff has a mission, he tries to ram it home. Abortion rights are murder, that is the word from Rome. So women crouch in alleys, a needle in their hand. Their blood runs through the gutters because of his command. Now maybe when I die and they toll that funeral bell, there'll be a God the Father, just like the stories tell. He'll see the life I've lived and he'll pack me off to hell. But I'll bet my bottom dollar that the Pope is there as well.
You'll have heard of the tale of young Albert, how he ran off in Blackpool one day and got himself into Flamingo without even having to pay. How he went on the stage as a stripper, which caused the Ramsbottoms alarm, till his ma dragged him off in high dudgeon, with his head tucked underneath her arm. After that, Albert pined for the gay life and begged to revisit the bar, but his mother said, "Best ask your father," and his pa said, "You'd best ask your ma." And that's where the matter was rested. Things had come to a sort of impasse, though his parents were secretly praying he'd go and start courting a lass. All the while, Albert worried and fretted and wondered how long this could last. There isn't much action in Rochdale, except for watching the trams going past. Till one day came such a commotion. A telegram came to the door saying rich Uncle George kicked the bucket, which he should have done ages before. The funeral took place in London at a cemetery close to Earl's Court. Pa said, "We could do with an outing. Now this is my chance," Albert thought. Perhaps he'll have left us his money, thought Pa. After all, he had tons. "I'll wear my best black," declared Albert. "Black leather and black 501s. For years, he had planned for this moment. He'd practiced like mad for the part. He could make quite a nice guacamole and sing Traviata by heart. As they stood looking glum at the graveside, with Ma trying her hardest to cry, Albert noticed a well-built old party in the sun on a tombstone close by. The vicar went on somewhat chronic about lilies and ashes and dust, while Albert felt all of a doodah. He'd talk to this man or he'd bust. So he sidled away from the service and wandered across for a chat with his stick with the horse's head handle. He'd thought of some uses for that. Now, in cruising, there's certain conventions. But for those, Albert cared not a damn. He went straight up and said, "Hi, I'm Albert." And the whole party said, "Marksman Sam." For some time now, Sam's been in civvies, cashiered when they found he was gay, a thing which would never have happened in old Duke of Wellington's day. Sam had landed a job as a courier, acquired a big motorbike, while his uniform still came in handy for trips to the block and the like. All this he explained to young Albert, who chatted as gay as a lark. He'd a liking for men that were older, and he'd seen quite a few in the park. Old Sam was attractively grizzled, and an idea popped into his head. They don't sell old ale in the coal urn. He invited the lad home instead. Albert mentally did calculations, couldn't say for how long he could be. He'd only brought out threepence halfpenny, which wouldn't even buy a fish tea. The whole of the town was inviting. He needed some cash double quick. So he said, "If thou wants, I'll go with thee, but it's twopence per person per trick." At these words, Sam started to argue, protesting he didn't go with rent. But Albert agreed to take visa, so back to Sam's lodgings they went. There, Sam had what's known as a dungeon. It weren't much more than a room, with a few tatty chairs and a harness, and an atmosphere laden with doom. "Now, make yourself comfy, young Albert," said Sam, with a glint in his eye. "Why don't you get into this harness? By gum, you'll get a surprise." Soon, Albert were trussed like a chicken, and over his head was an hood, while the stick with the horse's head handle, well, at least it were doing some good. When Sam had the lad where he wanted, he cautioned him, "Don't make a sound." "I've nothing much on," replied Albert. "After all, I'm just hanging around." Then Sam left the room upon tiptoe, went upstairs as quiet could be, and whistling something by ABBA, he put on the kettle for tea. In the dungeon, the minutes passed slowly and gradually crawled to the hour. It wasn't what Albert expected. He'd had much more fun at the tower. In the hall, he could hear the clock ticking as slowly the seconds progressed. It was starting to give him the shivers. He wished that he'd put on his vest. At the last, he was begging for rescue when he heard from the kitchen a shout. "I had to pay thee, so tha'd come, lad. Happen now thou'll pay me to get out."
I like the alligator because it has big, strong teeth and it can snap all the heads off frogs and things.
Oh, no. We can't though.
You're on mute.
Thank you.
Don't be silly. Alligators don't go. They go. Because they put their bottoms underwater on mute.
Like the fried eggs, because you can eat the yellow bit first and then lick the white bit, just like a real egg.
I like the cola bottles because you can stick them up your nose.
The twin snakes are best because they go round and round each other and you can suck them like you were giving your best friend a blowjob.
I like the dinosaurs because they are big. In fact, they are huge. And they go stomp, stomp, stomp. And I can stomp all over your pathetic, boring fried egg. Yeah.
I like the fairyland, obviously.
And I like
I-
fairyland, obviously, too.
I like the friendship rings because you can put them over your penis and it can help you maintain an erection for hours.
I like the giant dummies because I can put them in his mouth when he won't shut the fuck up.
I like the drama llamas. You can't farm a drama llama, and you can't alarm a drama llama, and you couldn't harm a drama llama in armor, but you can charm a drama llama. And can I have my money now, please?
I love the rainbow twists and the rainbow strips because they're so gay.
What's Ian saying?
I like it when people do the actions to rude things because they're on mute.
Does someone like the bear buddies because you can put them together and it looks like they're fucking? Oh, good. Because I like Haribo butt plugs because you can stick them up your bottom and then you can put them in your mouth. And they have a lovely, tangy, fruity, gooey taste. They have body. And they're so good.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, children. And enjoy your Haribos, wherever you put